Most people setting up LLCs in 2025 are making costly mistakes because they are following outdated advice that completely ignores international implications. And whether you are a US citizen dreaming of going global or an international entrepreneur looking to enter the US market, your LLC strategy needs to be different from what you see in most YouTube videos. So choosing the wrong LLC structure and filing it correctly, you could end up paying double taxes, paying more taxes than you should, or missing out on crucial international banking opportunities. And my non-resident LLC owners only have so many options with banks because they do exactly as we tell them to do. And we have helped hundreds of people open LLCs both domestically and internationally, and we specialize in cross-border taxation. So after years of seeing the same expensive mistakes over and over, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to get this set up correctly in under 10 minutes, and that's the goal of this video. So we are gonna go through choosing the right state for your LLC, using the right address, and staying compliant. And I'm gonna give you tips and tricks for every situation so that you can get everything open quickly and correctly. So in a moment, I will explain why the choice of state matters more than you think. So for the Americans who are watching this video based inside the US, you are generally going to open an LLC in the state where you live. Now that's a short answer. That's generally what you are going to do. And the next part still applies for my foreign owners. So if you are Tom from, let's say, Germany, or Samuel from Spain, or Antonio from Italy, you generally are gonna open an LLC in one of the private states, one of the states where your ownership is private. I'll go over some of the pros and cons and some of the states to use right here. So the most common state that we are using is Wyoming over Delaware. And here's the reason why. First of all, Wyoming will list your business address, and that's easier when it comes to banking. For example, you are able to open a relay fee account. And when we are talking about banking in general and you are a non-resident, someone from outside the US, the address that you use is really important, and the banking is really important because you don't have hundreds of fintech banking options. You only have let's say 5 or 6 good online options. So it's crucial that you do not make any mistakes here, and I will go over those before the end of the video. We like privacy where we can get it, but it also will show the business address, so that's helpful. We generally are going with Wyoming because it's one of the better options. It's the fastest one to deal with. They have your business address, it's private ownership. The state is very responsive, and it's the one I'm generally recommending if you want a private LLC. Now, if you are someone who travels to the US, often to a specific state, let's say you are flying to Atlanta once a month, it might be easier to open a Georgia LLC if you are gonna be in that state, because it'll be easier to open bank accounts while you are in the state. If you are flying to Miami all the time, you are in Florida, it might be easier to have a Florida LLC. But actually, our experience shows that it is usually not crucial that you have your company in Florida if you want to open a bank account in Miami, for example. We have many clients who have a Wyoming LLC and have successfully opened several bank accounts in Miami with Chase, Citi, Bank of America, and more. If there are drawbacks to a Florida LLC, it's public ownership, so you can see the name of the owner, but the benefit of public ownership is that it could be easier to open certain bank accounts. So if you don't care about privacy and you fly to Florida twice a year, it might be easier for you to actually open a Florida LLC, because then you can get a bank account open slightly easier. Establishing an LLC is easy. The challenge is always getting the bank account open so that you can actually conduct business. And now this is where we get to the second part. There's a specific type of address that's more helpful. I already did some videos about the addresses. Essentially, you need to pay for a registered agent for your LLC. So there's a registered agent, and then there's a business address. So the registered agent address is someone who can receive service and process. So if you get sued or there's a formal letter coming from the state, the registered agent will forward it to you, but you can't use that address for regular mail. Generally, you can pay for mail forwarding and they can forward the mail to you, but when you are a non-resident, one of the little options you really have for banking is going to be Mercury. If you can't get Mercury open, your further options become limited, and when you come to the US, it's harder to open accounts with just those addresses. So a mail forwarding address, there's basically hundreds and hundreds of different mail forwarding addresses and businesses doing mail forwarding on the internet that you can find. If you go to Anytime Mailbox, for example, you can maybe get lucky and find an address that hasn't been used that many times, but after an address is used with a bank or an institution more than 20, 30, 40 times, they flag it as a mail forwarding address, and it's more difficult to get accounts open with that address. And essentially, we will help you to find a suitable address. From a banking perspective, so-called CMRA addresses are flagged, and we have a database of non-CMRA addresses that you can rent for banking purposes. And many providers will rent you their offices, for example, but you will often pay at least 1,000 USD per year. Our solutions are simply much cheaper. We don't charge you extra. We just show you the solution, and we also show you other solutions for finding a suitable business address. That's the way we are helping our clients get these accounts open, because it's really important to use the right address. And I would recommend, if you are based in the US, not to use your home address for your LLC, because we don't want stuff coming to your house. We don't want your address to be public and associated with your business, and therefore rather use a mail forwarding address. So yeah, for people based in the US, I would pay for the mail forwarding and just do it that way. And the last step is staying compliant, but before we get there, actually, I want to go over whether you should open a single member or a multi-member LLC, and it's way more impactful for my foreign owners. But in short, a single member LLC is going to be established as a disregarded entity, so the LLC is not going to pay taxes on a corporate level. So if you personally do not have a tax residency anywhere, you pay 0% tax with the LLC as a non-US resident. So let's say Antonio from Italy and Andres from Spain are doing a business together. If they are doing business together, it makes sense to open a multi-member LLC, of course. Essentially, it's the best option. But if you are doing a business by yourself, sometimes you want to add like your mom or your brother or someone as a 1% owner, so you can create a multi-member LLC. And sometimes this construct can make sense. For example, if you need a W-9 form for platforms like Amazon. And essentially, if you are selling on Amazon, you would use a multi-member LLC, and that means you just add someone else as a 1% owner so that you can deliver a W-9 form. Now, the last step of staying compliant depends on how you set up your company. So if it's a single member LLC and you are a foreign person, you have to file a proforma 5472 or proforma form 1120 with a 5472 attached. And that's due on April 15th. So if you opened your LLC in the previous year, even on the 31st December, and you had some related party transactions and you are a non-resident, you have to file this form before April 15th in the following year. And what many people don't know is that those who do not file will be fined up to 25,000 USD by the US tax authority. Now, if your LLC has more than one owner, if it's a multi-member LLC and you had income or expenses, profits or losses during the year, you have to file a partnership return before March 15th. Alright, that's about it. If you have any questions about the LLC or would like to establish an LLC, you can fill out our form. You can find the links in the description. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one. Bye.